International football. You can't beat it, right? It's the equivalent of a Marvel Avengers film where you just get all the best characters, stick them together, and you get a load of action and excitement and crazy things happening. As fans, we absolutely love it. But being an international manager is pretty tough. You can only win anything once every 2 years, and even then, to do that, you've got to beat the best players in the world. So it's no wonder that they get so much criticism when they don't win a trophy. Thankfully, in England, we're pretty level-headed and tend to support our managers through thick and thin.
And why do you keep picking Harry Maguire? You fucking dickhead! What's it gonna take?
So, with the World Cup on the horizon, today's big question we're asking, is Gareth Southgate any good? But who decides what good is? We're all guilty of writing off managers who've had major success in the past.
3 for me and 2 for them. Respect, man, respect.
And some fans just can't seem to make their minds up on whether managers are actually good or not.
These 3 games was going to tell me everything I know about Mikel. Fuck off. See you later. You're not good enough. Right, that's it. Listen. We are playing the best football I've seen in the league so far this season. I've said it and I'll say it again. The football we're playing is fantastic at the moment.
Looking at the stats, Gareth Southgate is arguably the second most successful England manager after Sir Alf Ramsey, who is still the only manager to actually win anything with England. Gareth's got a win ratio of 61%. That's equal to Glenn Hoddle and Sir Alf. And second, only to the king of qualifying himself, Fabio Capello. Capello's 67% win ratio was mainly made up of beating part-timers like Andorra and San Marino, and when he got to the World Cup, he was useless. You'll remember this is the World Cup where people moaned about us not having VAR, rather than the current state of affairs where everyone moans about the fact that we've got VAR.
Was it FIFA.1? Technology. Thanks very much, Sepp Blatter. England have to use this. Well, I hope he's here. I hope he's squirming in his seat, by the way.
Southgate's average goals conceded per game is 0.68. That puts him 5th on the list, behind Hoddle, Venables, Robson, and of course, the genius that is Steve McLaren.
I say, I think we are not just what you call underdogs, but massive underdogs.
Now, I was as shocked as you to find out his average goals scored per game of 2.12 puts him joint second with Capello, behind only the great Walter Winterbottom.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
He was manager after the Second World War, but he didn't even pick the team. That was done by a panel of selectors. So a little bit like any PSG manager for the past 10 years. These are all nice stats, but points mean prizes, and Gareth has got the most wins in major tournaments out of any England manager ever. And he's never failed to take England to at least a semi-final in the 2 major tournaments he's been manager. Not a bad record. But people say he was lucky in these tournaments, and he didn't even play good teams. In the World Cup in 2018, he had a group of Turkey, Panama and Belgium, before beating Colombia and Sweden in the knockouts. Then in the Euros in 2021, they faced a group of Croatia, Czech Republic and Scotland, before beating Germany, Ukraine and Denmark in the knockouts. Still a semi-final and a final. That's not bad, right? I mean, it's not like this is another golden generation.
This is one of the most talented generations that has ever existed. This is the very definition of a golden generation.
So what about Southgate's record before he was England manager? Well, he was at Borough for 3 years in his first job as manager. Starting out in 06-07, his results just kept getting worse for 3 seasons in the Prem. His win percentage went from 32% to 26% and then 18%, which I'm not a statistician, but as trend lines go, it's not so good. So Borough got relegated. Now, we all know the Championship is the Wild West, with managers getting sacked every other week. Southgate was no different. Despite starting well in October with the club in 4th place, only 1 point off the top of the league, he was axed. But he did do some good stuff. He was great with the young players, put his trust in Stuart Downing, brought through other players like Lee Catamol, James Morrison, and Adam Johnson. So maybe good at spotting talented players, but perhaps not such a good judge of character. Maybe this was one of his selling points when he took over as the England under-21 manager in 2013. He had a win percentage of 82% there. It's pretty impressive. But he also had a shock in Euros with them. And when they didn't get out of the group and they lost to both Portugal and Italy. So with the under-21s, he won the games he was expected to, but he didn't pick up wins against the bigger teams. But international football is different to club football, people say. So this gave him good international experience, and he worked with a load of the players that he'd managed in the senior team. It also gave him a chance to develop his playing philosophy more. At Borough, Southgate played with a traditional
4-4-2.
He used wingers like Stuart Downing or Adam Johnson to get the ball into a big man up top. He started out with Yakubu, then he had Mido, and finally Afonso Alves. So that's why they got relegated. Anyway, Southgate changed while managing the England under-21s, and he went to a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. He wanted to dominate possession, tire the opponents out, and just beat them up when they're all knackered.
Stop! He's already dead!
When he got the England job in 2016, he started by using the same formation as he had in the under-21s. It worked well against teams that were worse than them, but then in the run-up to the 2018 World Cup, England played some friendly games against teams that were actually good at football. That's when Southgate moved to his infamous back three and went unbeaten in the games against Germany, Brazil, Netherlands, Italy, Nigeria, and Costa Rica. So after that, he decided he was going to play the whole of the World Cup using that formation. Following the World Cup, he then switched between a 4-3-3 and then a back three when he was playing teams where he didn't expect to have as much of the ball. Like in the Euros against Germany, which worked well, and against Italy, which didn't really work. So he's got some tactical flexibility, and his philosophy is all about treating the ball as king, retaining possession, and grinding teams down.
Yeah, one of the things that if you don't keep the ball as well as your opponent, then there's a danger that you fatigue as the game goes on, and they have the better at the end of the game.
And he empowers his players to make decisions for themselves. He has often said that he likes his players to take responsibility and have an opinion.
I like players to have responsibility, to have an opinion.
But this approach brings criticism that it's actually the players that are deciding the best way to approach the games, rather than Southgate and his coaching staff. So, taking everything into account, is Gareth Southgate a good manager? I mean, you can't argue that he's had success with England, while taking fan expectations from worrying if we can even beat Iceland to thinking we should easily win a World Cup. He's no Pep Guardiola when it comes to tactics, that's clear, but he does know how to create a good team spirit in the camp. The reality is, he's a decent manager. He's not an all-time great, but he's not completely useless. And he's certainly a lot better than most of the managers England have had in recent years. But can he win the World Cup with England? I would say it's going to be tough, given the competition. But also, looking at his record, certainly don't count him out. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments your thoughts on Southgate and whether you think he can win the World Cup for England. Oh, and if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, where we'll answer more of football's big questions.